On agenda, we're talking about the stalking syndrome because last Monday on this show, we're speaking about Infosys employees case in Chennai. Well, not too far from there, where in neighboring state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, we have the case over this weekend of Sandhya. Sandhya, like Swati, was also publicly killed just outside her home, and very brutally her throat was slit because she was being stalked and the police refused to acknowledge the case. In fact, they had a bit of an understanding. They said that they were going to come to an arrangement between the person who she complained against and her. We'll be speaking about that in just a bit to talk about what are the warning signs of stalking and why is it that 3 years after that law came into effect, even now stalking is not being taken seriously by police authorities. First, the details of these two cases. So our guest today, when we're talking about the stalking syndrome, we have Madras High Court lawyer C. Rajashekharan joining us. We also have Prasanna Gettu, an activist who's working in this particular area. We also have Amod Kant, former DGP of police, and with me we have Mona Mulna, who works for IDWA. The first thing that we're asking is that the two cases, first, last week the Infosys case, and now over the weekend we have the case of Sandhya. Could there be an intervention? Could there have been an intervention by police authorities or any other authority which would have averted this terrible tragedy? Prasanna Gettu, could there have been, from what we know of both cases till now, and especially Sandhya's case, is there any point that anything that the authorities could have done which would have averted this? Prasanna Gettu?
Can you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Is there anything that the authorities could have done in the case of Sandhya which would have averted this tragedy?
Can't hear.
Mr. Rajashekharan, can you tell us anything that according to you could have been done to avert this?
Yeah, see, in the case of Swati, when a stalker has been following her for 2-3 months, she could have immediately informed either the office where she was working, or she could have immediately informed the parents, or she could have, on an individual, could have walked into the police station nearby and given a complaint. And definitely the Madras police, city police, which is always compared to Scotland Yard police, would have definitely acted swiftly, and this murder would have been averted for sure. But unfortunately, for the reasons best known to Swati alone, why she kept quiet, I don't know. So this is the main issue for her demise, and it's very unfortunate and sad that a boy lands in Chennai and he stays in a mansion, and within the span of 3 months he develops a love, and he gets obsessed, he goes, follows her, and finally he hacks her to death. And these kind of incidents shouldn't happen anywhere in the country. The children and the grown-up girls and college-going working women should definitely, if any kind of negative things in their life, like stalkers following them, people giving them messages, their telephone has been tampered, all this stuff should be immediately informed either to the police or to the parents of their concern. Otherwise, you cannot expect each and every police officer to guard each and every citizen. It's very impractical, and you cannot do that at all. So as far as Swati's incident is concerned,
talk about
it's very
what the
unfortunate.
police could have done and other authorities could have done, Mr. Rajshekharan. Just to point out to our viewers that the news update today has been that, of course, the perpetrator in Swati's case has been sent to judicial custody after he has revealed more details of how this happened, that how they were chatting. He tried to approach her also on Facebook. There were a couple of chats that the police has revealed. But what's interesting is that in the Telangana case of the 18-year-old, police has also revealed that in the past, when Sandhya had complained to the police, at that point, at certain instances, the police tried to bring about an understanding. So perhaps I want to ask Mr. Amod Khan, sir, do you think this is the way to approach it? Why is it that we keep hearing when women go to the police and complain about people that the police tries to bring about an understanding? What kind of an understanding could possibly be there? Why is it that the police takes this kind of approach?
I think this entire idea of creating understanding and to forging some kind of compromise between two persons, the moment a girl, a young lady, she goes to a police station or she informs the police in any manner about the hardship she is suffering or stalking that's happening to her, I see no reason why should police intervene in trying to strike some kind of compromise and things like that. Stalking is a serious crime. I hope you know that. I mean, after Nirvaya's case, the Criminal Law Amendment Act brought into the statute book stalking as a serious crime. And if somebody is being followed, let's say a woman or a girl or whoever is being stalked by a person, if somebody is following, chasing that person and creating hardships, creating mental agony, creating any kind of physical harassment or mental harassment, in that kind of situation, that's a plain and simple crime. I see no reason why should a policeman try to bring about some kind of rapprochement, some kind of understanding. Now that is one point. Second point is that what is my belief and what is my experience as an ex-police officer. I mean, long years, I have seen it. Large number of cases, very, very large number of cases, the young ruffians, the young people, who are these kind of people, they try to stalk women, they try to stalk young girls. They try to chase them, follow them and do all kinds of things. And most of the time they don't report to police. They don't report to police for simple reason that they perhaps think, their families think that if they report to police, number one, problems may get aggravated. Secondly, they are really apprehensive about the whole thing. They don't want to go to police for that reason. I think there is a need for change in the attitude of police also in a big way, in the sense that such events are not so ordinary, they are so extraordinary. You can see in Sandhya's case, she has been killed.
Actually, it's very
they should be taken very seriously, that's what I can say. And the police
Mr. Khan, it's interesting you say that they don't report, because if you look at the statistics, and the statistics involved and talked about stalking only very recently, only in the last report for the very first time, because before that it wasn't considered a crime. And it's interesting you say that people don't report, because in Tamil Nadu, highest stalking figures are coming from Uttar Pradesh. Tamil Nadu is much, much lower, but it's interesting in Telangana, Sandhya did report several times. Prasanna, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, it's not only about stalking, it's about any kind of gender-based violence, let it be domestic violence or sexual harassment in public space or workspace. It is always taken in a very soft cushion approach. When they go to the police, you'll take domestic violence, it is some kind of a mediation is done and she's sent back saying this won't happen again. The same with stalking or sexual harassment in public spaces, it is like, okay, men are like that, boys are like that, it will be okay, and then making some kind of a compromise and sending them away. Why is it so?
Yes, that's what we wanted to ask Mr. Kant. Sano, yes, go ahead. As a radio jockey, you must be getting lots of calls, lots of people calling in to talk about these cases. What are people very concerned about?
Okay, so let me quickly tell you what, I'm sure you guys have heard of Dheere Dheere Se, Hrithik Roshan's song. You see Hrithik Roshan actually stalking Sonam Kapoor, taking pictures, he stalks her. But in real life, he understands stalking when Kangana Ranaut stalks him. But to cut the story short, every time some girl is killed or she's stalked. This is a story that goes in loops, Sunetra. Number one, Bollywood films, films are responsible for people stalking. The film guys say, hey, we've got nothing to do with this, we're only showing what's happening in real life. And then we ask the police, we want help. And then the police say we don't have enough people. In Swati's murders case, if you notice, the RPF guys were not at 6:45 in the morning. Ask them, they say there are too many vacancies. Then they say, why should the police do everything? What are you common people doing? What should the woman really do in this case? Then they would say, hey, you know what, we should educate our men to treat our women with respect. These are three things that keep getting debated repeatedly again and again. But the end, Sunetra, people are dying. Women are dying. What is being said? Tell me one politician in his political mandate has said, I will stop stalking in any election mandate. Have you seen it, Sunetra? It's not happening. That's my problem, Sunetra.
I know. And do you want to talk about that? Why isn't that? Obviously, politicians, no one wants to make this their big focus.
Politicians don't make it their big focus. The society doesn't make it its big focus. The police doesn't make it its big focus. So nobody is making it its big focus except the girls who are the victims.
Yes.
So
has stalking increased?
Well, I don't have the figures.
Yeah.
But definitely, I would say that reportage of stalking has increased.